The PC gave us computing power at home, the internet connected us, and mobile let us do it pretty much anywhere. Now generative AI lets us communicate with technology in our own language using our own senses. But figuring it all out when you're living through it is a totally different story. Welcome to Leading the Shift, a new podcast from Microsoft Azure. I'm your host, Susan Ettlinger. In each episode, leaders will share what they're learning to help you navigate all this change with confidence. Please join us. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast with Rotoscopers, episode 73, Ice Age, Scratology 101.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon.com. Amazon is the world's leading provider of basically everything. Books, DVDs, movies. If you want it, they got it. Even all 4 of the Ice Age sequels and soon to be 5th. So pre-order it on Amazon.com. And by shopping at Amazon.com, you actually support the show. Every little bit helps, and we actually get a little kickback whenever you guys use our affiliate link, and it really helps support the show. We just bought new microphones, so our sound quality is incredible, and we did it all with your Amazon purchases. So thank you so much, and keep shopping at rotoscopers.com/Amazon.
Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Dom Bluth, Blue Sky, and everything in between. My name is Chelsea. We are here with Morgan and Mason, my humble and lovable companions in crime. And we are here talking about animated movies.
So I'm a humble companion in crime, huh?
Yeah, we're the humblest. Yeah, we're like the most humble, awesome people ever. Like, it's so awesome that we're humble. Nobody is as humble as we are.
Ever. No.
We're the best.
Honestly, I don't think that you could get any humbler or better than us. So, we'll just go with that. If you are new to this show, basically what we do, we're just 3 friends. We get together every other week. We discuss an animated movie from the past or present. And this week we are going to be talking about Ice Age. And really we're doing series right now. We haven't always done this, but we started out, we were doing dog series, and then now we're in the Dinos and Dragons series. And so this one we did an online basically vote, and this one got number 3 in the list. So we're
behind Dinosaur and Land Before Time.
I know. Well, okay, no. Technically it was 4th even, because our top one was Sleeping Beauty, but we're going to be saving that one to the end because that's going to happen around my birthday, and it's probably my favorite Disney movie ever. So, yay.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to be doing Ice Age today. So,
do you realize this precedent you've set, Mason? It's your
birthday episode?
so you
or
get
being a brat.
But here's the thing, I get the short end of the stick because you get an awesome episode, Chelsea gets an awesome episode, and then here I am in December and we don't have time because we have to put a Christmas episode or the best of 2014. So it's like I don't even get a pick.
Sorry, Morgan. Not everyone hates Christmas as much as you do.
Oh, that's true. Just kidding. Christmas is basically the best.
Yeah, I forgot. You were the one who had the unfortunate one who had the birthday in December. Gosh, that's got to be hard.
No, it's actually okay.
Okay.
My parents basically made a list, and whatever I put, I got it, basically.
Well, that's good. That's good. As long as you're on the nice list, right?
Mm-hmm, always.
let's get into this.
Ice Age. And now the story of a herd of misfits who lost everything, and the one mammoth who had no choice but to keep them together. But seriously, though, I love Ice Age. It's such a sweet, feel-good film. This is one of my favorites. Actually, I think this is one of my mom's favorites. Also, and our whole family really likes this film. I don't know why.
Hey, it's a good one.
I think it's okay.
Oh no.
I know.
Sour grape already. Okay, so a little bit of trivia. We're going to do a little history before we actually get into it because I said so. Ice Age was the 8th fully CGI animated feature from Hollywood, at least, from America. So can anyone name the first 7?
Okay, I think I can.
No cheating. In order.
Okay.
Well, they don't have to be in order, but you have to be pretty close.
All right, Toy Story, obviously. Then Ants, then A Bug's Life. Then we have Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Then we have Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Monsters University. And I can't think of the 7th one. I've been sitting here trying to figure this out.
Monsters University?
No, Monsters Incorporated, sorry.
There we go. All the fanboys were like leaning on their keyboards already to reply to us.
Because at this point, there was only 2 studios. And Dinosaur, right?
No, that thing came out. Yeah, it did.
Was that fully CGI, though?
No.
According to Wikipedia, it's not. So that's what I'm going on.
Dang it. Okay, well, basically...
Dinosaur was, so that makes 7.
Nah, what's the official list? What am I missing?
Okay, according to Wikipedia, it was Toy Story, Ants, A Bug's Life, A Toy Story 2, Shrek, Monsters Incorporated. It also cites Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Was that a movie?
That was that far ago?
Whoa.
That
2001?
Wow. I would have thought that was 2005. I never would have guessed that.
I say we don't count it and we switch Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius for Disney's Dinosaur. I think that will please our listeners a little bit more.
But it's not fully CGI animated.
Okay. But... So no matter how you slice it, Ice Age does come out as the 8th, unless you count Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, which was Columbia and Square Enix, back then known as Square, I guess. But I don't want to count that either. So yeah, it's about the 8th.
Prepare for the Ice Age! The temperature's heading down.
Freezing my tail off.
But how do we know it's an ice age?
Because of all the ice! And the whole world's heading south.
Get off me!
Except 4 misfits going the other way.
I'm not going.
Who are about to discover something that brings them together.
We should return him.
If you're looking for the humans, you're never going to reach them before the pass closes up with snow.
Now they're looking out for the kid.
From now on, refer to me as Lord of the Flame.
Hey, Lord of the Flame. Your tail's on fire.
And everyone else better look out for them.
I actually thought you were going to eat me.
I don't eat junk food.
Ow!
Captain, iceberg ahead!
This I gotta see.
I'm fine. I'm gonna die. Manny!
Where's the baby?
There he is! Ice Age.
The first thing that I noticed when I put it in, I was just like, huh, we've come a long way.
No kidding. Yeah. So this is Blue Sky Studios. This was their first full-length, endeavor in CG animation. A little history, because I think we've done Blue Sky films, but I don't think we've really talked about the studio. And it's worth mentioning because for a while it was just...
I actually don't think we've done any Blue Sky. The fans have gotten mad at us because we haven't done this studio justice, which is really sad.
Oh, man, it is sad.
Sorry, Blue Sky.
Well,
We're
fans,
here now.
We love you.
Yeah, sorry, fans. Sorry, Blue Sky. So, yeah, founded in 1987, doing the visual effects for Tron. And it started out as a VFX studio for, TV spots. They do, M&M's commercials, and they did, a Nicktoons intro. Later, they did VFX for live-action films for Fox. And during this time, it got acquired by Fox. Early 90s, the special effects market started to crash, and Fox considered selling Blue Sky like it did Rhythm and Hues until Blue Sky picked up the script for Ice Age and turned it into a family comedy. And it was such a success that Blue Sky was thereafter established as the third studio after Pixar and DreamWorks to launch a successful CG animation franchise, and that is Ice Age. And I think there are 4 Ice Age films now.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so unfortunately, but they keep making them, so they got to have some success. I don't know, maybe there's a foreign market we're not even thinking of. I mean, that is like the 10-second version of the crash course of the history of Blue Sky Studios. But there it is. It's hard to believe that like for a while it was just Pixar and then DreamWorks and then Ice Age from Blue Sky. I mean, there was Disney, like they were doing all 3D movies, but you kind of overlook Blue Sky as this like really long-standing animation studio. And it reminds me a lot of Real Effects in Dallas, who did Freebirds, and they're about to do Book of Life. They started out, and they still do VFX for commercials and then for TV spots and films and stuff.
And like a lot of studios start out just doing commercials. And it's kind of like Richard Williams. I mean, he made a lot of his money, to fund his projects through commercials, and they always had to go back to the commercial arm to like get the money to make The Thief and the Cobbler. But I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of parallels between Blue Sky's first film and Real FX's first film, because if you look at the quality of them compared to other animated films at the time, like if you look at Monsters Inc., well, it just doesn't hold up. I mean, at the same time that this was released, it was Monsters University, and they were making huge developments in fur, and if you just look at the films, they don't even look like they're from the same era. And the same thing if you were to compare Freebirds to anything released in 2013. But I don't think we should criticize it for that. I think we should actually praise it because it is a smaller studio doing the best they can to tell a story that's really good just to break into the market. And then we see that their second and their third films definitely pick up in quality because they were able to prove themselves and get a bigger budget.
So I really like Blue Sky Studios. Some things that I've noticed for them, everything, and I made a video about this when they were getting ready to do the Rio 2, and just how everything that they ever do is like nowadays, especially after, as Morgan was talking about, they weren't totally funded enough to be able to really put as much money into the animation at this time. But as things went on and got better for them, man, do they put out some quality animation. Just, I mean, Epic was beautiful. Every little thing that you looked at, it was just the trees and the colors were just amazing. And then once again in Rio 2, like they're just really, really stellar job of getting all of these it's just very aesthetically pleasing, and I give them many kudos for that.
Wow, many kudos.
Many kudos. I like going to see their stuff now. I mean, for me, I always come out thinking that was really pretty.
But was it really good?
I would like to say it was really, really good, but not always has that happened. But it's almost always I've come out thinking that was really well animated.
See, and it's really sad with Blue Sky Studios because they have some unique original pieces. Rio was cool, Epic was neat, and then Ice Age. But then I feel like they get stuck in this trap where they have to do sequels because the sequels are more successful than their original stuff. And it's just a shame to see Ice Age 5 like that is actually a thing. When I look at their original films like Epic, which obviously it's based on a book, but it's original in the fact that it's not a sequel. It makes me sad that we're not getting what we could from them. Like Peanuts, I'm interested in Peanuts. I'm glad that they were the studio to get the rights opposed to DreamWorks. But nonetheless, I mean, we know where Peanuts is going to go for the most part because it's such an iconic series. But yeah, it really does make me a bit sad. I really hope they have a lot more original features in their pipeline because I'm just such a fan of what they do.
So this was distributed, or it was produced by Fox Animation, so 20th Century Fox, all that. Its last animated film was Titan AE back in 2000. That was about 2 years previous to Ice Age. And speaking of Titan AE, Don Bluth, there was a little bit of Don Bluth drama with this film. Isn't there always? I mean no offense to him. Allegedly, there's about 3 scenarios we're going to go over here. Allegedly, Don Bluth and Gary Goldman were supposed to direct it. But after the failure, that's #debatable, of Titan AE, so after that, the project got moved to Blue Sky under the directorship of Chris Wedge, who was one of the founders of Blue Sky. So there's another side of the story where Don Bluth supposedly refused to direct a fully 3D CG animated film. That sounds like him. I could believe that.
The thing is, it does sound like him, and it makes me so sad because really Titan AE, like put the nail in the coffin to his career. He was not able to come back. And this could have maybe just lengthened it a little bit to where he would be able to recover and then maybe go back to 2D films. But really, because he said no to this, I mean, the films would not be what it is today, obviously. But because he said no, his career basically ended, which is really sad because like I'm very nostalgic and I'm always like, man, what if we had more Don Bluth? Like I always go back to this. I'm like, darn you, Titan AE. But yeah, that's actually pretty interesting.
It was funny. This Dinos and Dragons. I was about to say Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, this Dinos and Dragons series should just be called the Don Bluth series because every episode
the Don Bluth drama series.
I know. Everything we've been talking about revolves around him.
Yeah. There should be a theory where everything really revolves around Don Bluth. What if we're all just in Don Bluth's mind?
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, there's a third scenario where apparently Don Bluth and Gary Goldman wanted to make the film a darker drama figures. I mean, never heard that before. But 20th Century Fox insisted that it be a children's comedy, and so it went over to Blue Sky. So no matter how you slice it, there was some Don Bluth drama going on with production of Ice Age, and he, it's interesting to speculate on what might have been, a 2D hand-drawn drama about a herd of misfit dinosaur mammals, proto mammals. Anyway, so I spoke earlier about its success in the box office. I think opening weekend they originally thought it was going to make it. They originally projected it would make like 30 million. I think it came out with 46 million. Opening day or opening weekend, something like that. So it did defy expectations. It got nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards. It lost to Spirited Away, which, is justified.
Absolutely.
I would go as far as to say it's an animated classic as far as 3D goes. I mean, it was
kind of an anomaly.
It was. It was like this. It was a hit. And think of all these other like furry critters movies that have come out, like Over the Hedge, The Nut Job, Hoodwinked, other ones. Furry Critters movies, you know what I'm talking about. The ones you see at Redbox, Why didn't this one end up like those,
Because it's better.
Because it was quality.
Yeah, it was quality.
So we included this in our Dinos and Dragons series. And I didn't even really consider that this actually isn't a dino movie in any way, shape, or form. It's more of a prehistoric film, which both of those fall into. Yeah. But really, I mean, I'm sure people were looking at this poll thinking, there's no dinosaurs in Ice Age. But, I mean, they're literally set millions of years apart.
There is one dinosaur. There's the Tyrannosaurus that's encased in the ice when they're walking around the ice cavern.
Phew,
it
saved
counts.
us. It saved us.
It counts. I just basically saved the podcast. Yay.
Yay.
Once again, it's up to me to rescue the performance. Gypsy, come. Stage is the other way, dear. Yeah, so it is a prehistoric film. We're dealing with proto-mammals. And, we're dealing with some Paleozoic stuff. But yeah, there is one T-Rex. And then eventually there was one sequel that spawned a bunch of dinosaurs, right?
Was there?
Yeah, Ice Age. Dawn of the Dinos? Age of the Dinosaurs?
Yes, I try to not pay attention to these sequels. Just because I really didn't enjoy the first one that much that I never felt inclined to see them in theaters. So yeah, I'm an embarrassment to any animation fan, I know. So yeah, like I only saw this movie once in theaters and never saw the appeal to really see it again or watch it on TV when it was playing. And so this was actually the second time that I've seen Ice Age, and I liked it, but not enough to, like, a lot of people really love this movie, and it's a big deal to them, and kind of like, Land Before Time was to me. But I don't think I really gave this enough re-watchings early on to make it like have a special place in my heart.
Well, that makes sense. Well, this is about the 132nd time I've seen this film. It was definitely a big deal in my house. We did get into the sequels a little bit. We really liked Ice Age 2. I thought it was good, except for Queen Latifah. I will forever be anti-Queen Latifah. I never saw the others. But in the second film, there were these two, what are they? They're like lemurs. They're like little lemur brothers. They're possums. They're possums.
Yeah.
There's two twin
Okay.
brothers that are possums that have raised the Queen Latifah character as their own.
We've never seen a plot line like that before.
Yeah,
An animal of one species raise another animal of another species.
Somewhere, some possums calling for you. 2 worlds, 1 family. Trust your possum. Anyway, yeah, so they were brilliant. They were hilarious. Oh, they were great. Loved them.
You know, it's kind of the same. I kind of have a little bit of the same feelings as this is Morgan, but probably a little bit more toward the positive side than she had, because I did end up seeing the second one, but at the same time, like, I can barely remember like a lot of the plots and things, or even moments. I remember seeing the first one and thinking, "Oh, that was funny," and "Oh, that was a sweet moment," of when we finally find out the whole Manny's whole backstory and everything, and like, you just, "Oh, that was nice," but I didn't remember any of the extra jokes. I didn't. As I'm watching it again, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that is funny. Oh, Scrat, huh, funny." I mean, but yeah, it's I'm kind of like a tad more toward the positive probably, but still not quite in love.
One thing that they've kept consistent throughout all the films is Scrat.
We start with Scrat and we end with Scrat.
We always do, doesn't
Which
he?
means we have less plot to work with in the actual film.
He's such an alpha and omega in this series. It's so weird how like omnipresent he is. I feel a conspiracy coming along.
We need music for Mason conspiracy theory. Anytime something happens, like
I'm on it.
X-Files theme song, maybe.
No, something unique, something Mason.
The theme, the little music, the Lost theme song. Where the logo comes up,
Yeah.
or the credits.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, so a little Scratology 101 from Mason here. I thought he was perfect in the first film. Like, it's so easy to get him. In fact, I think the idea for Scrat was pitched by the director's daughter or something like that. Just the idea of this pathetic half squirrel, half rat that just wants his nut, and he will never get it. Spoiler alert. Sorry, folks. And you understood him. Like, kids understood him, down to the little kids. And it was a very effective way to control the pacing of the film, because you're dealing with some ups and downs, and then to kind of break it apart, they have these interludes with Scrat that are just really funny. He's like their weird, like, I don't know, he's like the 5th member of their herd, but they just never really notice him.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a part in the series, and I'm just speculating or asking our listeners, is there ever a part in our series where he's actually a character, where he actually like does something? What if in the last movie they're all in danger of like getting blown up or like sucked into lava, and Scrat just rescues them, and he's like finally talks, and that's why you don't fall into lava. I don't know.
No, all he's gonna say is, "I love you." Hashtag Sean Connery.
I love you. Yeah, and he with Sean Connery's voice.
Right.
Yeah. So in this first film, he really turned into like an instant favorite, and he pretty much ran away with the whole film.
He really did. I do remember him probably the most.
Yeah, and then they just kept using him. Every movie has him. Every preview has him. In fact, there are some that are just teaser trailers with Scrat.
Mm-hmm.
And he never did any new gags, as far as I can tell. I don't know.
It got old.
And I lost respect for him. It was an overdone gag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
You can't beat pigs with pigs, and this is what they're doing. Do you remember that?
Can you beat Can you beat mass migration with mass migration?
Oh my gosh, enough with the migrations. I mean, can we get Mother Gothel in here? Enough with the migrations. It's like every prehistoric dino movie is centered around...
You do a really good Mother Gothel impression.
I'm telling you, I'm going to do female Disney characters on the YouTube channel. Get ready.
All right.
But only after you do yours.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so migration's all over the place. The second movie starts with a migration.
That's all these animals do, is they just wander around. Nomads.
At least in this one, it does say, like, Sid does kind of bring that up. He's like, the whole like desire to go toward the warmer weather kind of getting in you, And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not like that. So I guess I like that they actually like explained it, even though you really don't need to have explained, but still, why?
Well, here's a difference. This one has humans, and it's a prehistoric
It's
migration
true.
film.
Yeah, the humans are actually an interesting touch because you think dinosaurs, and that's way prehistoric. But this is actually a time when humans were actually around, and so I think I find it interesting because the human designs are very rudimentary. It's sort of like almost 10 years prior. Well, 7 years earlier with Toy Story, where the humans were, kind of like robot-ish. They didn't move too much, do a lot, and I felt like the humans were the exact same in this film. Obviously, they weren't the stars. The budget didn't go there, except for the baby. The baby had a lot more life and qualities to him than the humans and the adults. But I just thought it was interesting as I was looking. I was like, oh man, we have gone back in time for sure.
Yeah, very, very dated. Like, I've seen stuff on Turbo Squid that looks better. Yeah, it is very rudimentary, and we are dealing with Neanderthals. I think they're not meant to be humans. I don't get the link between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, but yeah, I think the fact that they are Neanderthals kind of benefits the fact that the technology wasn't as good back in those days, or maybe it was a stylistic choice because it's not like they were going for realistic rendering with these creatures.
Right.
It is interesting though. Yeah, the humans. So right off the bat, we're introduced to Manfred, the woolly mammoth, who is literally going against the crowd as they're doing this mass migration. We definitely know who he is right off the bat. His first line: "If my trunk were that small, I wouldn't draw attention to myself."
I loved
It'll be better
his
when
character.
you're gone. Ray Romano. Wasn't Ray Romano just the perfect
He's
choice
so
for Manny?
good.
I can't
Yeah.
do Ray Romano.
The humans.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be tracking the humans?
Yeah,
I love Ray. He's great.
It's just funny because you could definitely tell like who were the big names when this movie was coming out. Like every movie has a period of like 5 years where there was someone really big at the time, and
It's true.
and this movie
you're
was
right.
definitely early 2000s because you would not put Ray Romano in a movie now unless he was a part of the sequels, which he is. That's why he still has work in these films.
Yeah.
But
Well, the his brother in Everybody Loves Raymond, the one that says Everybody Loves Raymond. He was in Bug's Life, wasn't he? Wasn't he Timmy, the big stag beetle, or the big rhino beetle?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was around this time. I don't know.
They
And
all
then
had work.
yeah, exactly.
They all had work and they had plenty of it. This was their high time.
I'm gonna go right up front and say this right here that Sid is my favorite character. I will also go right up front and confess that I do not know how to pronounce the name of the actor that portrays him. So forgive me. John Leguizamo.
Leguizamo?
John L.
It could be.
I think it's
it could be
Leguizamo.
Leguizamo or Leguizamo
Yeah. Well, it sounds Italian, so Leguizamo.
or Leguizamo. Or Leguizamo.
Where can we put the accent over the E,
Where?
over the U, over the I?
This is
over the
where
A, over the
English
O?
falls short. Why don't we have
This is where I
stupid
fall
accent
back to my
marks?
Spanish skills. Yeah, Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
It's probably-
Anyway.
Leguizamo. Anyway, he is flawless, and I love his performance in this film. I think Sid the Sloth is like the best character. Doesn't anyone care? Doesn't anyone care about Sid the Sloth? Also, there's some surprise voice talent that I didn't realize was in this film until recently. Jack Black? I mean, hello.
I never would have known that.
I never would have known. He is the little dopey Sabretooth in the Saber herd, you know?
Yeah.
I never realized this until recently, that it was Jack Black. Yeah, he says, come back with the baby or don't come back at all. And then there's Diedrich Bader, Rex Kwando, as the arrogant Sabretooth. I won't say his name because we're going to get into that in a second. Cedric the Entertainer, he does a lot of animated films.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Madagascar, wasn't he? He plays Carl. Carl, he ruined our salad. And then Jane Krakowski, who's my personal favorite actress from 30 Rock on camera. My gosh, she's amazing. Jenna Maroney. But Jane Krakowski is one of the female sloths. You know, when Sid kind of has a run-in and uses the baby as bait. My gosh.
Oh, all the sensitive ones are always eaten or
It's
something
not
like
much
that.
not much to look at, but it's so hard to find a family man. You're right. All the sensitive ones get eaten. So true.
As I was listening to this or watching the movie, from the very beginning, I noticed the score. The score was very distinctive to me, but not because it was anything new, just because I know these beats. You know, composers have their own little, instruments that they like or certain musical cues that they like to play up multiple times. And immediately I'm thinking, this is Anastasia. And I'm like, no, it's like Jingle All the Way. Come to find out, the composer David Newman did both of those movies. He has a very, I couldn't even explain it to you, but he has a very distinctive sound. Just think Anastasia, that score. And I liked it. I think I like it better in Anastasia. That score very much stands out to me, but I definitely noticed this score more than I normally would have.
There was also a song in the road trip sequence, the montage. Mm-hmm. There's this one song that was like really fun. I wish they had I wish they would have played it more on the radio.
That's
I
what they all
remember that
wish.
song.
Yeah, it was like Shrek had the same thing. When there's a montage of them, traveling
the
through
Matilda
the kingdom.
music?
There's like this. There is.
Is this that Matilda song that do 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 do? No.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
one.
I don't know what song that is, but I call it the Matilda
That was for
song.
Matilda? Of course, I never saw Matilda.
Repent.
Sorry.
Oh,
I don't believe in magic.
sad day.
I'm just
And
kidding.
you've never seen Harry Potter, which is a lie.
Checkmate. Anyway, yeah. So I never saw Matilda, but yeah, it's that song that you were citing. Yeah.
So, as I was talking about composers with very distinctive styles, do you think that's a bad thing for a composer to have such a distinct, recognizable style and sound?
I really don't think so. I guess it's just like any song that you would hear on the radio. Like when you hear somebody's voice and you're like, oh, that's Kelly Clarkson, or oh, that's Carrie Underwood, or oh, that's, Bon Jovi. Like you just know who they are, and that's kind of more brand recognition for themselves. So I honestly don't think it is, but it could also get into kind of like, don't do the same thing over and over and over again. So there's two sides to that coin, I think. Yeah, I've actually been on a really big James Horner kick because of the Land Before Time episode. And so like I've been listening to like Titanic, Mask of Zorro, and all these like amazing songs and themes. And like his, you can kind of feel the same movement a little bit. But at the same time, it's just each one of them they're just very different too. So he adds a little bit more of a Celtic in some things. But anyway, I like it.
I think of I don't know, Hans Zimmer is like extremely popular now, and he has a distinctive like style, but he still pulls off a lot of I don't know. I think he pulls out a lot of variety, but at the same time, he does have I wouldn't say a formula, but he has like a trademark or like signature style,
Yeah, it is kind of a formula. I mean, it's not going to be the same thing every time, but it's just kind of how their mind works, I would say.
Yeah. But I never, well, these people are musicians, they're artists, so it's okay for them to have a style, just like any other musician or whatever has a style.
Yeah, totally. So talking about the Jack Black Sabretooth, there's always a mangy like member of the pack. You know what I mean?
There always is.
He's like half grown or like really just
he's the Ed.
Yes, the Ed, or I think in Lion King 2 wasn't like one of the brothers or one of the Scar's relatives was kind of like that. There's always one that just like maybe was malnourished or is just kind of weird.
He's like the brother-in-law that even Scar didn't like. Yeah.
So we got one here.
I totally agree. I just like how the head honcho saber is like totally obsessed with eating that baby. What did the baby do to him?
But why couldn't they get more meat from just killing a person?
Diego, bring me that baby alive. He's like revenge. Well, he wants revenge on the humans.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's been some deaths of some saber cubs
in the family.
I would assume, that they probably killed their cubs or something.
Hey, Neanderthals got to eat.
Hey, we all got to feed our young.
So there's a war going on between sabers and man, and Diego is just the assassin for the job. So then we bring Diego into the mix. Of course, Sid, by chance hooks up with Manny after Manny, shows his protective, side, his longing for justice. I don't like animals that kill for pleasure. Save it for a mammal that cares. I'm a mammal that cares. Shut up. Hey, aren't you herbivores? An excellent point. So they all kind of get together, and this is what I like about the film. You've got these misfits. You've got Manny, who just wants to be left alone, Sid, who just wants not to die, Diego, who just wants to please his boss, and the baby, who just needs to survive. And everyone kind of needs this baby for different reasons, but not really. And they all hate each other at the beginning, and it makes for some awesome comedy, for one, because Diego's like super sarcastic and Sid's like totally pathetic, and Manny just rolls his eyes at everyone. You get this really awesome dialogue, this awesome banter and like comedy and kind of situation comedy with what's going on. And but the best part is this dynamic relationship that they have and how all the characters change by the end, but not before they have like some crazy antics that bring them closer together. Aww.
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 I just love how no one respects Sid.
Why would you?
With this shtick and my highly evolved brain, I shall create fire.
You shall call me Sid the Fire. What is he? The Fire
King or something.
The Flame
like that.
King or something.
No, Sid, Lord of the Flame.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Lord of the Flames.
Hey, Lord of the Flame, your tail's on fire.
Nice little Lord of the Flies reference.
Oh, I love it.
Off the tongue.
Yeah, I love it. Sid, Lord of the Flame.
I really enjoyed the dodo time.
Oh my gosh, I think the dodos were like the funniest part. Like,
yeah.
if you watch that sequence, like every 2 seconds, one of them finds some way to kill itself.
Protect the dodo way of life.
Well, if you don't have any better ideas, then doom on you. Doom on you. Doom on you. Doom on you.
It was so good.
Remember, if you fall into the Geyser, you will definitely burn and die.
Well, the whole time I'm watching this, and all I can see is there's that one. I don't know. At the Phoenix Zoo, I'm pretty sure it's there, where there's a big sign that says it's too late to see the dodo. Basically, it's saying like we have to help
trying to guilt
save
you
these
into
animals.
saving all the other animals.
Yeah, exactly. Guilt us into give them more money so they can hold captive all of these
sucker
animals.
you into money. Oh yeah,
that,
save the animals. Okay.
But all I can see is that, and then there's the juxtaposition of just kill them all.
Oh my gosh. I mean, isn't it obvious nature selected them for extinction? Hashtag
Obviously.
Jurassic Park, hashtag Ian Malcolm, hashtag But anyway, yeah, the dodo sequence is great, and I love the dramatic scene of Sid managing to get the melon away from the dodos, and then he just spikes it to the ground. He just ruins it. But then you start seeing that the characters care about each other, because Diego's like, Sid, you ruined the food for the baby. I love the dodos. I love Sid trying to impress the lady sloths with the baby. He's like, no, come on, man, I need a handsome guy like you. And it does this like shot of Sid who's just kind of like pathetic looking. I think the coolest part is the caverns, the ice caverns. Pretty good rendering,
Mm-hmm.
Super fun, happy slide.
He's like, hey, I found a shortcut. What do you mean shortcut? I mean shorter than the other way around.
That would have been a cool ride somewhere in a theme park.
Oh, if they made like a blue sky land. They should make a Foxland.
Foxland.
That way you could have like one whole section of the park could be Springfield.
Yes. We need more of this.
You could get a ribwich at the Krusty Burger. Still working on that Krusty voice. That would be cool. A ride, where you would it be like the water park?
Like, I want the Diego car. No, I want it.
No, I don't want to be the Sid. I'm always the Sid. Well, maybe when you're older, you can have the Diego car. But anyway,
Sid won though.
He did.
But he's just not cool, even as a winner.
I know.
You know, an ice slide is a terrific way to get your characters from point A to point B. It's just very convenient. Hey, let's just make a mile-long slide. This movie needs to pick up the pace.
It's true.
Hey, animators, who wants to do a slide sequence? All right. There's a lot of good lines. No thanks, I choose life. Then I suggest you take the shortcut. Are you threatening me? Diego's got really good lines. In the future, I suggest you watch your back, because I'll be chewing on it.
Yeah, Sid. Wanna play tag? You're it.
You're it. Oh, and that brings us to the cave paintings.
Oh, see, this is the thing that like I said, I really liked about this movie is how you discover that there's so much more of a backstory to Manny and the reasons why he does everything, and just he is fully developed. You can see why he is the way he is, and that comes right here at the cave painting when you see why he hates people, predators who kill for fun, why he is just going against the herd, why he's doing everything. He's got a motivation for everything, and I just felt like this was the moment that paid everything off.
Yeah.
It was great.
And why he's so conflicted about the human, the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally.
Like
But-
those are great moments when you know that and you go back and watch his reaction to the child throughout the whole thing. Like he's just like so hands off, wanting to be, but then he just can't. Like his insides, his like you said, his sense for justice, of like paternal being able to protect is still in him. And so it's just really cool to see how they made those choices throughout the whole thing. I really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's such a touching scene. Like you learn all about it. It's perfectly portrayed. Like it's not a flashback. It's a flashback in the cave painting, through Manny's perspective. And then it never fails to get me to tear up. The moment where Sid and the baby react, and then, Manny's going to be fine. He goes on and he's found his new family, and then Diego's the last person to leave, and he's got this tear in his eye because he's realizing what he's doing. He's destroying a family that he's a part of. And gosh, it just gives me goosebumps just talking about it. But I think that's probably the most powerful scene in the film, and really touching. So I think what separates this movie from the others is that it really nailed the character appeal. Like it really got you to care about these characters.
So you're saying you don't care about them in the sequels, or they just kind of had their moment?
Yeah, interesting question there. I think they do expand on it a little bit in Ice Age 2, because that's the only sequel that I've seen. But other than that, I couldn't tell you. Not at the depth of this film.
So if this movie's so good, like people universally love Ice Age, why is there so much disdain for the sequels? Like you're a huge fan, but you've only seen one of them. And I haven't seen any of them, other than the first.
Well, it's I don't know. I think it's just how everybody feels about sequels. The entire movie fan community, they tend to collectively roll their eyes at sequels. Mm-hmm. Because
unless they're good.
They're good, because that's just a trendy thing to do, and also because people want to see originality. I think looking around us in the entertainment industry, there isn't a lot of originality, at least in coming from the big studios.
Well, and
now, you could debate, Pixar's role and all that stuff, but I think for the most part, there isn't as much original material as there used to be.
And it's a bit sad because they get something that's successful and they're like, we're going to squeeze every last drop out of this. And so people, they remember the first one and how good it is. And so when a sequel comes out, they want to see it because they remember those characters. And so people go out in droves to see the sequel. And then the sequel doesn't end up being very good, but still ends up making a lot of money anyway. So then this cycle continues. It's like, oh, well, I remember I liked the first one, so let's see the third one. The third one was okay. It wasn't anything like the first one. But enough people went and saw the third one because of their nostalgia for the original characters and the original storyline. They see it again, and this is how we end up with Ice Age 5.
Yeah, this goes along with my personal philosophy on entertainment. If you are tired of seeing all these sequels, then stop paying money to see them. I feel bad saying that on a podcast about animated films, but it goes with everything. If you're tired of the third movie in a trilogy being split into two movies, then stop watching them in theaters. Stop paying money to see them. Let the producers and the distributors know that you're not going to support that. And I'll still go see Star Wars Episode 7, but
Better.
um,
I'm like so excited for
that's
this
kinda-
movie.
yeah. Did you see the X-Men? Okay, never mind.
I did.
So that's just my personal philosophy on entertainment. I think, for the most part, we tend to roll our eyes and scoff at a plethora of sequels, which is bad because we should give them a chance. But at the same time, is it really worth our time and money? Because, history has proven that all these sequels can just be such low quality, or they lose their magic. I mean, heck, what was it? Ice Age Continental Drift had so many stars. It had Drake. It had Queen Latifah. It had Nicki Minaj. What? I wouldn't let her into an animation studio. But anyway, sequels had it's called sequelitis, to quote Aaron from Game Grumps. It's a sequelitis where just sequels just tend to try to take what was magical about the original, and they just end up screwing it up. I'll have to see the sequels now.
Now I'm gonna have to go watch them.
Well, I mean, you did even give the Land Before Time sequel some justice by at least reading their synopses. So
All I did was read the synopses, Morgan.
that's more than I've done. I did see the second one. And
I did see the second
We didn't talk about this, but I liked the second one because, as people mentioned, Chomper. Chomper it's kind of like a situation like this. He's an enemy, but he's a baby. So what do we do? And
I'm assuming Chomper is some sort of carnivorous theropod.
T-Rex to be
Yeah,
exact.
T-Rex. Okay.
Anyways, yeah, it's just funny the similarities between that.
All right. Fair
I
enough.
did like that one too. Not enough to keep going to see others, but I did see the second.
There is one part of Ice Age that I think is totally random. Like they're just walking along and all of a sudden, boom, lava everywhere. Life or death situation, and quick, make a decision about what you've learned throughout the course of the film.
That scene kind of bothered me because I didn't just lava appears, and I'm like, if lava had been,
I thought they were trying to.
No. I'm from a practical level. I'm like, lava was not just hovering under the surface. All that ice would have been instantly gone, or at least wouldn't have been as solid as it portrayed. I don't know, it just really, really bothered me. I'm like, no, fire and ice do not stay compatible for this long.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was watching it with the director commentary, and that was
Good
something
choice.
that they pointed out. They're like, yeah, so I really like how the ice melted really, really quickly until you have Diego hanging from a cliff that really shouldn't be holding the mammoth. But he's like, I just wanted to push the edge. I just wanted to make this as impossible as it could be. And so that's what happened. So they were even laughing
AKA,
about it.
we didn't really think it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I thought that was totally random, but you do get that golden moment, where Manny saves a person that he believes is going that could very well be betraying them, and Diego's like, you saved my life, and he's like, well, that's what you do in a herd, and then Sid's like, I don't know about you, but we are the weirdest herd I have ever seen.
Oh, so
It's one of my favorite lines. There's some pretty good quotes in this film.
That was something. They had a lot of great one-liners, a lot of, even just the situational comedy was just really well played. The timing was really good, especially with Scrat, all these little things. Honestly, that's why I think that they scored so high, is because the comedy was just really well developed and really well done. And even set up the dandelion joke at the very beginning. It's like, oh, look, it's the dandelion. It's the last one of the season. And then
a dandelion, it must be the last one of the season. He just chomps on it.
Right. But then they bring it back after this whole fight, he falls down into this other part of the forbidden area, I guess. I don't know. He just falls down. He's like, oh, a dandelion, and then the other guy falls down on top of it, and it's just goes again.
Oh.
I mean, I liked it. I like how they brought in all of these. Those are really great situational comedy moments, really well done.
And then we have the big conflict in the end. So Diego is he meets up with his saber buddies. I'm gonna call them Saber Force because that sounds like an 80s hair metal band. Saber Force. Saber Force is going to go out and trap the mammoth. Soto is like, ooh, I'm going to get the baby and a delicious mammoth steak. There's only one way to do it. Oh, there's the whole conflict where Diego's like, oh, I feel so guilty, I confess. And Manny has to choose whether to whether to trust Diego or not, you know? And that's always a big thing. Hey, quintessential "you lied to me" moment.
Yes.
Perfect.
Lied?
You know? Except Manny doesn't go that. He skips right to the "I'll kill you for that." So yeah, half-peak showdown. You know what? This is a very clean film. Like, I don't think they try anything totally new. It doesn't stick to a formula, but it sticks to things that work. You know, they all work together in the end as a group, as a family, to defeat the Saber Force. And then Soto gets his due through an off-screen death, you know. The icicles.
Yes.
Sharp.
Very
That would have been
impaled.
Yeah.
Death by skewering.
Ooh.
And then there's
And of course, the rest of the Saber Force are like, we'll catch you later.
We're out of here. See ya. Yeah. I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home? But yeah.
You may leave.
And then there's the ending, and then the tension is still there, because Manny doesn't know what to do when the Neanderthal guy turns around and sees him. And he's like, okay, how do I tell you I'm giving you your baby without looking like I'm going to kill you? So the tension is still there. I wish that the Neanderthal should have been like, well, I'm going to stay with these animals instead of... Can you imagine if the Neanderthal chose to go with the animals with his son instead of the Neanderthals? He would have just been this like non-speaking character throughout the sequels.
He would have been
the Spike.
The Spike. Well, shall we rate this?
Let us rate.
Well, for me, you know, I was trying to compare it to different movies that I've seen, as we all kind of do, and I'm going to give it 3 stars. It was funny. It had a lot of... Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But it was... I couldn't quite give it the 3.5 star point. I may go for 3.25, but we'll just go with 3. Basically, it was funny. It had a lot of that great moment. I liked it. I mean, it was really good. It doesn't have the same replay value for me on like over and over and over, but it was really good. I mean, it was kind of like I just saw Planes, Fire and Rescue, and just like Planes, Fire and Rescue, it was like, oh, there's a lot of really good stuff with that, but I'm happy with what I saw. I don't. I'm like, okay. Don't need it tomorrow, you know. I don't want to like rewatch it right away, but it was good.
I am going to give it 3.5 stars. Surprisingly, I give it a higher rating than Chelsea.
Well, wait. Now that I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, I gave Planes, and I kind of bashed them.
You can't go back and change your rating.
No, I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to 3.5 because it did know its audience, and that's something that I really respect. Is a movie that knows their audience and they kind of stick to it, and they don't try to talk to all age groups, if you know. So I've 3.5. I'll go with that.
I'm going to also give it 3.5 stars. I liked this movie, but I'm not a lover of this movie. I don't really need to see it again. And some part might be because the animation is a bit outdated in a way. It really doesn't hold up too well, I'd say, like Toy Story does. But that being said, the characters are pretty interesting, and the humor is funny. And there are a lot of funny moments, and it gets to the point. It's pretty quick. And it is unique in a way. Yes, there's migrations, and yes, it's sort of like this buddy comedy where this gang gets together and they have to get from point A to point B. But nonetheless, it's interesting. The voice cast does a great job, and it has an interesting plot device at the end or throughout with the child. And I thought that was kind of a unique thing that they did, which kind of made this movie so successful. So 3.5.
Well, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Partly because of the nostalgia factor. I, for one, find it very... I think it has a high replay value. Obviously, since I've seen it like a bazillion times. I think the animation is cute. I think it worked for its time. I do believe that Blue Sky was one of the first to do like all ray tracing, which is a higher rendering and lighting quality than just... what Pixar and DreamWorks were doing. But don't quote me on that. That's just kind of a rumor. What I like the most about the film is the character development. And I'm never one to really talk that much about character development, but they did a really good job with the characters in this film, especially Diego. Like, I love a story where a bad character becomes good. And yet I hate the concept of giving purely evil characters a tragic backstory where you blame their evil on someone else. But anyway, besides all that, I thought that Diego's story arc was solid. And it was like there. And so was Manny's. Sid didn't change much, but you don't really expect him to. I love the story of a group of people that like hate each other at first, but then they form an indestructible bond of, a family, the concept of a family. So yes, I think this is a family-friendly movie, and I love the characters and the story. Like I said, it's not totally unique, but it works. And I think the visuals are cute. Not to mention Scrat; he's just great. 4 stars.
Okay, now we're going to move into our voicemail and mailbag segment, and our first is a voicemail from Eddie.
Hi, this is Eddie from Arizona. I just saw about you doing a podcast on this new movie, Ice Age. I hope you don't have any spoilers, because I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but really excited for your podcast. Thanks, guys. You're the best.
Yeah, Eddie, we debated for a while on whether to spoil people on this this new animated movie from 2002, but we feel like it's best for the community. I mean, I hate to break it to you, there's already been like test screenings and stuff for it, and people have already been to the premiere, so I mean, the cat's pretty much out of the bag on Ice Age. So we'll try not to spoil you too bad. But we do recommend you see it. I think there's a early release DVD or even Blu-ray out already. You can go check it out.
Definitely go check it out. Okay, our first email is from Joshua K. And Joshua K. has been sending in consistently reviews for every single movie that we're doing. And they're short and they're sweet and to the point, and we love them. Well, we like the long,
so sweet.
We like the long ones too, but it's just really cool that Joshua has been consistently sending in his reviews, and so here it is. Hi, Rotoscopers. Now, the first thing I have a problem with Ice Age is I'm worried this will become a modern or CG Land Before Time, where they just produce sequels every 1 or 2 years. But luckily, Blue Sky will not only do Ice Age movies. For example, in 2015, they're doing the Peanuts movie, which looks pretty good. I have seen certain parts of the first Ice Age movie, but from what I saw, it is pretty good. The animation was rough, but all animation studios start rough. Also, fun fact from the movie is that this story was pitched for Don Bluth, but turned it down. No wonder I think this is going to become a new Land Before Time. What do you think, Rotoscopers? Will this become a new Land Before Time? Joshua K.
Oh, Josh, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think it might be going in that direction. I mean, 20th Century Fox and Fox Animation, they are obviously milking a cow, or milking the mammoth, as it were. It's weird imagery. But I do agree, because I've already stopped watching the sequels. And I feel bad as an animation fan that I can't say that I've watched Dawn of the Dinosaurs, was it? And Continental Drift. And then was there another one? Have there been 4 or 5?
There have been 4. There will be 5.
Ah. Well, I think it might be... I mean, surely they're not going to make... How many Land Before Time
12.
sequels are there? 12, 13? Gosh. Hopefully they'll have moved on. But I mean, it's not like we're going to see a Epic 2.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
This is kind of like Land Before Time, except for theatrical, which is really interesting. But then you could also say that about Shrek. I mean, Shrek has, 4? And apparently... No, 3?
Don't forget Scared Shrekless, the October holiday special.
Yeah, see, I think that's the way modern animated films get away with this, is they don't just call them, like, direct-to-video sequels. They do these, like one-offs where they're holiday specials or whatnot, and then you kind of forget that, they're not just doing sequel after sequel. But they are. They're doing the exact same thing that they did 10 years ago with Ice Age.
All right, here's a mini review from Frank. He says, "Hey, Rotoscopers. So when it comes to Blue Sky Studios, they are my least favorite animation brand. Most of their movies fail to impress me with the likes of Rio and Epic. That being said, I liked the first Ice Age. I remember enjoying that movie as a kid and still do today. While the story is basically a hybrid of Shrek and Monsters Incorporated, I thought there was enough to make Ice Age stand on its own. I enjoy the dynamics of Manny, Sid, and Diego, seeing their friendship grow during their journey. Of the three, I would say Diego was my personal favorite. I like his sarcastic humor with Sid, and I felt he had a nicely developed character arc. I agree. However, my personal favorite character of the movie is Scrat. Despite not being part of the main story, I get so much joy from his subplot with his antics. It reminds me of a classic Looney Tunes cartoons with Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. You know he will never get his nut, but spoiler alert, but you enjoy seeing how he fails anyway. I laugh so hard. I laugh so much from the ending where he gets frozen and he's waiting for the ice to melt to get his nut, but then it just washes away to the ocean. And seeing him go berserk was one of my favorite moments in the movie. As I'm typing this, an Ice Age 5 is being planned for a 2016 release. Good year. I have not liked any of the sequels, and I do wish the franchise would just end already. Of course, it's a near billion-dollar franchise for Fox, so it shouldn't surprise me they keep making more. That being said, I can always look back at the first one and enjoy watching that. Frank, I feel the exact same way about Star Wars. Case closed.
I like all Star Wars.
Well, all right. Well, I feel that way about the original trilogy. Let's just say that. So I get what you're saying about Scrat. I think Scrat, like by this time we've been talking about Scrat for a while on this episode.
Yes, we have.
I think he's kind of like the runaway mascot of the Ice Age series.
Mm-hmm. Isn't part of Blue Sky's logo actually Scrat?
I think it was for a while. Then they developed a new logo in 2013 when they did Epic. I think.
Interesting.
But yeah, Scrat. I think Scrat could be like the Mickey Mouse of Blue Sky.
Do you think they could do a Scrat spin-off movie, sort of like the Minions movie or the Penguins of Madagascar?
I don't know if they did just like a 6-hour miniseries of Scrat trying to get that dang acorn and causing all these natural disasters in the process. Yeah, I would go for that. Oscar worthy.
Nice.
But I do agree what you said about Diego. I think while Diego's not my personal, he's not my tip-top favorite character, I think he has the best character arc. I think he changes the most, and that makes it a more powerful story because of it. Thanks, Frank.
I've been listening to you guys for close to a year now, but this is my first time writing in. First off, thanks for providing an entertaining and informative animation podcast. The art of animation has been my lifelong passion for decades now, and it's nice to have a show as good as this to listen to about it. Now for my question. I just listened to the Balto episode and heard you guys bring up some other podcasts you like the one by Clay Cadis. Have you ever considered collaborating with other shows? For the record, my other favorite animation podcast is Fanoff's Generation Animation, which if you aren't familiar with, you should definitely check it out for a good time. It would be amazing to have some people from both of those come together. Thanks for your time and never stop podcasting, John.
With other shows, with other websites, then you can totally support us by going through our Amazon affiliate link. It's rotoscopers.com/Amazon. That is a great way to support the show while you're doing your shopping on Amazon, which practically sells everything, not to mention all the movies that we're reviewing. So yeah. Just another plug for you.
Always. It's all
rotoscopers.com/Amazon.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I'm an artist who hopefully will get into the animation business one day. I've been a fan of your YouTube channel since I found it about a year and a half ago when I was trying to find some news about Frozen. My favorite part of your channel is probably the art of book reviews. Being an artist, I actually find some of the content in the books useful. For example, The Art of Rio kind of helped me out in a point when I was trying to learn how to draw birds, and especially wings. And I learned about that book through you guys, so thanks. Recently, I started listening to your podcast, and I am hooked. Your reviews are entertaining, yet very insightful. Anyway, I wanted to ask if you knew about The Secret of Kells. In case you don't, The Secret of Kells is an animated movie by an Irish animation company, Cartoon Saloon, telling a fictionalized story about the Book of Kells, one of Ireland's national treasures. The movie probably has the best visuals I've seen besides Studio Ghibli's movies. Also, from what I hear, Bruno Coulet, who helped make the music for Coraline, helped compose the score. The story is a bit different than what maybe American viewers are used to, but it uses a few elements from Celtic folklore that some people might not know about, or the ending some people, including myself, might not understand the first time. It gets a bit dark towards the ending compared to what most people might see in America, but I think I like this movie so much because of all that stuff. It makes me think something new every time I watch it. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. In case anyone is interested, I do believe it's on Netflix. Matthew C. So Mason, do you use the animation art books in your own animation and art?
Yeah, let's see. This year in my spring animation studio, we did a project where we basically developed the previs or the pre-visualization, pre-production for an animated short all the way. We did everything. We did character designs, we did environment designs, we did color scripts. We did everything short of actually producing the animated short. And that was a cool experience. And art of animation books were a big part of that because it has so much content from pre-production and previs that it is basically like they're basically like a how-to manual. And so we looked at them all the time. I brought my art of animation books that I've been privileged to review on the YouTube channel. And I remember our professor had a whole stack of art of animation books. There was Rango, there was Madagascar 3, all kinds of good ones.
Very cool. And yes, we need and want to do Secret of Kells. I actually had that on the docket for the end of the year. And then the Rat series came up and pushed everything. So I don't know, maybe we'll squeeze it in between series. We'll do Secret of Kells, because that one, it's an Irish studio, Cartoon Saloon. Really exciting, cool stuff. They're putting out a new movie in the near future. So yeah, I definitely want to give that studio some credit, because it is more of an independent in a way, because they're so much smaller. And just, we get a lot of emails asking about Secret of Kells, so we got to do it.
That'll be good. We haven't done like an Irish-made animated film in forever.
Unless you count Don Bluth, which
was
made
that's
in
true.
Ireland.
I was trying to be sarcastic, but yeah, you're totally right.
Okay, our last one is from Miriam. Hello there, Rotoscopers team. I love your work so much, and I was browsing your website, and I thought of something that might be a nice topic for an article. Now, I know you focus mainly on American animation, but you also cover some foreign work. I myself come from Brazil, now living in Canada, and I know that Chelsea has lived there and speaks Portuguese. Really well, I might add. So I wanted to present to you what any Brazilian would consider the best Brazilian animated film to ever be produced. The 1983 A Princesa e o Robô, or The Princess and the Robot. You can check out the full movie on YouTube. Now, 2 words about the film. The first is actually a film from the popular Brazilian comic franchise Turma da Mônica. There are several other cartoons and animated features from this franchise. Some really good, others not so much. But this film from 1983 was the first full-length animated film. Not only from the franchise, but I believe the first Brazilian full-length animated film ever to be produced. The second thing is that because of copyright issues with the soundtrack, this movie has never been released on DVD, so it is very rare, and all we can get are these poor quality YouTube videos that some good-hearted soul took the time to upload from his VHS copy. The reason why this movie is so great is not just because of it being a cornerstone in Brazilian animation. The animation itself may lack some quality, but I think when considering the resources and pioneer character of the project, it's actually quite good. What really makes this movie a gem is its story. A robot who is hit by a beam from the pulsing star in search of a heart, and the gang decides to help him in his outer space journey, where they'll face monsters, meteor showers, Star Wars-like laser fights, and the terrible, though not so terrible because he's really funny, Lord Kaheleha, a parody of Darth Vader, while trying to save the rabbit princess. Maybe it doesn't sound as nice as it does in my head, but it's really good. I swear it's not just my nostalgic inner child speaking. The story is epic, it's funny, has lots of adventure, and a fair share of romance and drama. And the soundtrack is also very beautiful. So there you go, this is my suggestion. I wonder if Chelsea would be able to understand the movie, because I know the file is in very poor shape and the audio is not very clear. Maybe when I'm on vacation, I'll try to make a subtitled version. Congratulations again for your great work. Keep it up. Have a great day, Miriam.
Miriam, the synopsis of that Brazilian animated film is so fantastic. I'm having a hard time believing it's real. So especially since this is quote unquote rare DVD, poor quality YouTube videos. I'm just kidding. It really sounds really funny. The Princess and the Robot.
Nice. Yeah, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll review that one day. We got to have Chelsea get on this and see what she says about it.
Yeah, we'll like strap her to a chair and force her to watch it and force her to translate it for us.
All right, guys, thanks for writing in to our mailbag. That is it for today. If you want your thoughts read on the show, be sure to send us an email at contact@rotoscopers.com. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Animation Addicts podcast. Remember when you are tweeting about this episode to use the hashtag #AnimAddicts. And this episode, our special hashtag is going to be hashtag #ItCounts, because this movie does count as a dinosaur movie. There was a dinosaur there. It counts. Hashtag #ItCounts.
And guys, can you believe that we have our Rotoscopers t-shirts?
Woohoo! I got mine in the mail today, and I love it. Like the color.
Oh, you did? Awesome.
Yeah, the color is so bright and teal. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm so excited to wear it. I'm going to wear it to work tomorrow. So get ready, Instagram.
Yes. I looked on Instagram, and there are a couple people who are posting their Roto shirts. And so hashtag Roto shirt. And if you want to see some of the other people who have purchased theirs and their wonderful little gifts that come with it, definitely head on over to rotoscopers.com/store if you want to purchase yours. And it's only $20. And because you're listening to this podcast, we are going to give you $5 off if you use the promo code podcast.
So really, guys, I love the shirts, and anyone who has bought the shirt, thank you so much. It means a lot to us. It's kind of a little fundraiser that we're doing to help the site because we want to redesign the site. So the user experience on web, tablet, mobile is that much better. So that's why we're doing these shirts so you have something tangible, but also you can support the show so we can do that and bring you an even better experience. We're really excited about what we want to do for, phase technically 3 of the site. If you were here in the very beginnings, you'll remember what our first site looked like, and it was so special. But yeah, that's the whole purpose of why we've been printing these shirts. So anyone who purchases the shirt, that's what it will go to, and we appreciate it so much.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked different ways how they'd be able to help support, and this is the best way because you get that tangible reminder and strut your rotoscoper pride.
Hashtag Rotopride.
Thanks again for listening. For show notes, visit us at rotoscopers.com, hashtag 73. We're on our 73rd episode. Check us out on Hypable and also Animated Views. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes, and we're also available on Stitcher Radio. Also, wherever there are comments and reviews to be made on those websites, please leave us a lovely review and a lovely rating. On iTunes, we've had some very gracious fans give us very high reviews, and that just gives us all the more incentive to do our best and to put out quality podcasts for y'all. As always, you can email us at therotoscopers@gmail.com. If you enjoy our voicemails and you want to get in on the action, go to rotoscopers.com/voicemail. You can also call 406-646-6575. This episode, as always, is brought to you by our amazing sponsors, Amazon.com and Audible.com. And our next episode, our 74th episode, we will continue with our dinosaur/prehistoric themed animated films. We're back. We're back, folks. I saw that in the theater, and I think my mom found it so extreme that she walked us out of the theater. I don't think I've ever seen the ending of this movie.
Well, you will now because you're all grown up and you can watch whatever you want.
I know. It's not going to be like Hunchback of Notre Dame. Mom's not going to bail me out of this one. All right. So individual locations, if you want to connect with the hosts of the Animation Addicts podcast, check out Morgan Stradling at Morgan Stradling on Twitter. Chelsea at Chelsea Robson. And chelsearobson.com is her Facebook. My Twitter is a little more complicated. At Mason SMTX. Just think San Marcos, Texas. Mason SMTX. You can check out my blog, thisanimатedlife.blogspot.com. Also, most recently, masonsmithportfolio.com. That's right, folks. My professional student portfolio is online and live, and I'm just waiting for those job offers to roll in. Well, not waiting. I'm actually working really hard to schmooze a couple of recruiters and hopefully have something happen in the fall. But yeah, check it out if you want to see. Well, you know that I am an animation student, and I hope to be an animator someday. So check out my stuff. Check out my demo reel, my resume, a little more about me professionally, and you can get to know me from that angle. And hey, if you know anyone from animation studio, make sure to put in a good word for me over there.
Has Cusco come on the podcast? Because it seems to be all about me.
I know.
Just kidding.
I should pause the show and be like, hi there. Just so you don't forget, this podcast is about me, not them, me. Okay. All right, we're going to keep rolling. Again, we want to thank you all for listening. Until next time,
we are the Rotoscopers.
This episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors, the AmazonAffiliateLink.com. Again, we want to thank our amazing fans for listening to our podcast. It brings such joy to us. Yeah, I get all sappy. We are the... I wish I could get Mom to do her Donald Duck voice on a voicemail.
Nice.
It's so good, it's creepy. No. My goal in life is to talk like Will Arnett perfectly. Michael.